you want their eyes to light up.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you chat with them, you can find out, do they have any kids? Have these kids done anything? Have they won awards? Have they, have they done something kind of interesting? And then you bring it back round to that when you're shooting them, and, you bring a sense memory to it, the sense memory of, well, what was it like when you heard your daughter got the first prize for her, her project? And obviously people's eyes just light up, and they just, something's there, right? And then you snap the picture. Yeah, it's corny. It's a little bit corny sometimes, Like,
yeah, but there's magic in it.
Yeah, it works. It's whatever works, really, and it's a connection. To their, almost like to another side of them. A little bit, something a little bit beyond. Like, oh, okay, so smile.
Right. Exactly. Well, I'm going to shift from people to what you're becoming quite well known for now, and that's your architecture shots. Everything from roofs and portals to island homes, exclusive island homes, and so on. So what's it like? How do you actually, as Jin Kai said to you, you coax the life out of even inanimate subjects. So what do you do when you go to an architectural shoot to set it up and capture a magic moment?
I think ideally, in an ideal world, and it's not always possible, but we like to scout the place if we can. Have a look at, what does it look like? It takes some scouting pictures. What's the light like, and then try to figure out the time of day. What's the optimum time of day for this building? Luckily now there's also software that we can use, so we can actually see the building and then see the direction of the sun, kind of play with it a little bit and go, oh, it looks like the sun's going to hit it right at 8, a.m. Well, that's great, because that's when you're going to have some nice color kind of light, It really is just looking for when is the light going to be best for that subject, and, in terms of what you're trying to show.
Mm-hmm. And I love how you, in one of your hotel shoots that was overlooking Niagara Falls, even though you're featuring the hotel, of course, the real allure of that hotel is that they're overlooking Niagara Falls, and you captured the falls in that amazing, magical, misty light too.
Yeah, those are technically a little tricky to do, because they're actually it's not just one shot. It's sometimes as many as 4 or 5. And so you sort of mount each one in Photoshop. You put each one on top of each other, and you maybe take a little piece from here. You take the windows from that other shot. You take the background from that other, and you're kind of marrying them all together to one shot.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And then you did some the Grierson architecture shots of those island homes. Did you just go to the house and shoot, or how did you make it look so amazing?
Well, no, that was a commission that William Grierson was a famous Canadian architect who did a lot of really interesting, kind of ahead of his time, green roof buildings and houses. And he had built a cottage, in a circular cottage on a rock in the middle of Georgian Bay. And he'd also done that for some other people in that same area. And so they were doing a retrospective book about his work, and they hired us to go out there, and, we got picked up, and we went out by boat. You can only really get there by boat. And we spent a couple of days on the island and the other island, and we just went with it and shot, and we got lucky. We had some nice light, we had some beautiful days, and the subject matter was amazing. A circular house, you don't see that every day. And it was just a magical time.
Well, I noticed too, you took what was like a small, like a foot-long picture of a model of an airplane, which looked kind of like what do you call it, the kind that goes on the water, the aquaplane, and you put it in the view so it looked like it was coming in from the water. I mean, did you move stuff around in the house?
Oh, yes. We're always constantly moving. We're like furniture movers, really. We're constantly moving, and we could get very, very picky. It's a really picky, painstaking process. We shoot to a computer, so we take a picture and then we study it. We go, well, you know what? That plane needs to just move 3 inches that way, and this couch needs to move back half a foot, and this lamp needs to move over there by 3 inches. And we just keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and tweaking until we feel it's right.
So it sounds like you're, in a sense, you're on the spot, but the photograph that the viewer who might be either, like you said, in this case, it's a book they're doing of this architect's work, but maybe for any client, it's their advertising so other people will hire them. You're really trying to direct viewers' attention towards special elements of whatever it is you're shooting. I get that feeling. Is that right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you're trying to direct the eye, always trying to direct, depending on what you're shooting, and sometimes it could be a stone product or because we shoot a lot of buildings, but we also shoot what people who provide products for buildings. So whether that's the facades or the stucco cladding or the windows or it could be a whole bunch of whatever it is that they contributed to that building. And so then we want to make sure that the eye is going to the specific product that the client is trying to highlight. And it's funny, because sometimes we find ourselves saying, well, wait a minute, what are we selling here? We're not selling this view, we're selling the stone it's the countertop wait a minute, we're selling chairs here. Or wait a minute, we're not selling chairs, we're selling, the other. So that's where we have to kind of really work and figure out what is the focus of this shoot.
Oh, very cool. So, you had one of the portfolio pieces was on a place you went called Wizard Academy in Austin, Texas. And you created some amazing images that discuss or describe better what goes into creating memorable images. So what are some of those couple of things before we wrap up here?
That's really good that you asked that question because I don't know the answer.
All right.
No, I do know the answer. You're looking for these things. Some of these things are so kind of instinctive to me now that they're a little bit, but obviously shooting through subjects, shooting through objects is always very interesting because they're kind of framed, like there's those shots of those lions in the woods. So we shot through, I ended up shooting through some woody little, and they just kind of emerge there. You just kind of see them. It's a bit unexpected. Shooting through doors, they're called portals, shooting through windows, shooting through doors.
You're really good with angles too. I noticed with your rooftops and those stones and the cladding and all of that, you're so good at capturing angles that are like shockingly inspiring.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice. That's so great. Yeah, we're just looking. I'm just looking for something that excites me and might excite someone else.
Yeah.
I think it's just trying to do one better each time. That's the key to it.
Wow. Well, I've got time for one last question, but I want to have our listeners know that they can find you and look at your portfolio on GVR Pix.com, and the GVR stands for Greg vanRiel. So what's next for you? I understand you have some really cool stuff coming up with your wife.
Yeah. Oh, with my wife, yes. We're going to go to Barbados, and we're going to go look there to see what we can do to maybe. She's a Watsu practitioner, which is a water-based therapy, and a massage therapist. So she's going to offer her services. I'm going to go meet some people. I'll go meet some architects. I've shot in the Caribbean before, so I'm hopeful I'm going to meet some people ahead of time, book some appointments and stuff like that, and make some offers to maybe shoot some things over there and just have a bit of fun. Because as I said, our plan here is to not be here for so long in the winters anymore. It's a bit much, Yeah, it just gets a bit much. And there's not a lot of shoots that go on. I mean, there are things, of course, interiors, and there's product shooting and all of that, but there's very little exterior shoots that go on.
Super. Yeah. Well, I think, Greg, it's time for you to do a book yourself of your own photographs and, follow your career and your development, your evolution to where you are now, where your photographies literally light up not just the image, but the hearts of people who look at them. At least that's been my experience and others that I've shared your photos with. So I thank you so much for taking time to be here with us on the show. And,
Absolutely.
enjoy your Indian summer and Barbados when you
Yes.
get there.
Thank you. I just say thank you very much. Thanks for interviewing me, and thanks for the listeners. And if there's any listeners out there that want to reach out, they can. But also, if they want to pursue something that they feel passionate about and excited about, then go ahead, just do it. And just pick it up, whatever it might be, and it's one step at a time, and enjoy it. Just enjoy it.
Super. Thank you, Greg. Really appreciate you being here. And thanks to our listeners as well for joining us on Living Legacy Leadership. Thank you to our producer, Joe Dubzinski. He's wonderful. He's a walking sort of Wikipedia or history of radio, everything. And, yay, Joe.
Yay, Joe.
Yay. And do look up the archival programs on the SOB Radio Network, or maybe check out my GameChangerThinking.com website as well. And bring your friends next week, and tune in anytime here. And do remember that the life you live is the legacy you leave. Bye-bye now.
Bye.